Welcome back to the Kris Show. I'm sitting down with Chad Brown here in my office. And brother, I want to have a conversation about something that you're doing in the world today that is insanely disruptive. Because I think you started off life as a young man as a builder, and then you became a multi-state builder. But a decade ago, you got into an industry that is changing the face of America right now. It's changing construction. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so 2016, is when it all started. But it started really, when I think about it, well before that. I started as a framing contractor right out of the Marine Corps in 1995. Okay. And I framed houses for 3 or 4 years and figured, you know what, I can build houses. I worked for some of the best builders, started building houses, grew into a multi-state builder, and really focused on high-end custom luxury homes. That was my niche.
Can I just ask, what was your definition of a high-end custom luxury home?
Yeah, so in the markets that I built in, that was a home that was anywhere from $2 million to $20 million.
So you were building beautiful homes, complicated projects.
Amazing homes. And now I also did a lot of affordable housing, workforce housing for nonprofits along the way. So I had a mixture of both. But I got into the steel game in 2016 because growing up as a wood framer, cutting my teeth in the building industry as a wood framer, that's all I knew. And then along comes this whole new concept of building a house out of steel and then printing a house from steel.
Okay, so let's actually do some definitions right now, because my father was a general contractor. So I grew up around construction, building homes, etc. And everything was always framed in wood. And I have seen commercial buildings framed in steel. I know that when I go down the Home Depot aisle, I can buy steel studs as opposed to wood studs. But now you're talking about something altogether different. You're talking about the 3D printing of the frame of a home in steel. What is that?
That is the piece that makes steel framing affordable to the regular home buyer.
Okay, well, let's define that, because steel is more expensive than wood.
All day long, as a commodity.
So why on earth would someone, I get it, maybe it's a stronger product, maybe it's better, maybe it's fire resistant, but why would someone pay more when we're in an affordable housing crisis when people are looking to pay less?
Well, what they're going to do is actually pay less, but a lot less than what they're paying for timber. But as a commodity, it's way more expensive to build in steel. What the 3D printing concept does is uses robots and technology, software technology, to produce a home out of steel cheaper than wood.
Okay, that makes it feel so futuristic. Can you bring it down to a very basic level? What is this machine?
This machine is what you would typically see that makes gutters. If you picture a gutter roll forming machine,
okay,
that's what the machine is.
Okay, so you've got this long, big machine, and you're basically putting flat steel into it, and then inside the machine, it's being custom contorted and cut and configured to a precise length that is then ready to be spat out and assembled.
It's exactly what it does. So the machine sucks in the flat steel, it shapes it, forms it, punches it, cuts it, notches it, makes blocks, makes studs, makes headers, makes all the pieces of a normal house. But what it ends up doing is doing it through technology and software.
So this is what makes it actually less expensive than regular steel as a commodity, because the machines and the robots are essentially performing a function of customization. And then after that, you just have a human squad assembling it.
That's it. Well, and here's the thing. Even there, the steel is still more expensive as a commodity. The steel there is still more expensive. What makes it affordable is the end price of the home. The end price of the home is what makes it affordable. So it saves on labor, saves on time, saves on waste. I mean, I can go down the list, but that's what makes it affordable.
Okay, so I want to talk just a little bit about this phrase that I've heard you say over and over again. We can print a 2,500 square foot home in a day and then ship it to the builder, and within a couple of days, they can finish taking the pre-assembled panels and basically finish the assembly on site. Is that true?
We have done that repeatedly over and over, and I have done it with my two hands so many times. I can tell you right now, I would bet my house that that's true. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty crazy though, because here's the typical scenario. I want to frame a house. I'm going to get a lumber bid. I'm then going to have to hire framers to put it together. Even a basic 2,000 square foot home, they could be framing it literally for weeks, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Well, and Kris, look at this. It gets touched so many times along the way. You just brought up getting a lumber bid. But in getting a lumber bid, it's got to come from the forest. It's got to go to a mill. It's got to go to a cutter that cuts it into different sizes. Then it's got to go to the retailer, the wholesaler, then the retailer, then to you.
And 10 to 15% of the product is going to be bad.
10 to 15% of it's bad. Every time it's touched, it gets more expensive. We get steel straight from the mill, savings. We run it through machines and save time, money, and material, savings. Then we get it out to you. That's how we end up cheaper or less expensive, I should say.
Less expensive by what amount?
Right now, on average, we're running about 30% less than timber at the price timber is at right now.
Okay, and is timber priced high, low, medium? Where's it at right now?
Right now, in November of 2025, it's at an all-time low.
Okay, so lumber at its lowest, you're still beating it by 30%.
Crushed it.
Does that mean that a year from now, when something happens and the price doubles like we've seen happen in the past, that you're going to be beating it by like 130%?
It means exactly that. And what also it means is that our steel has stayed level since I got in this game in 2016.
So your price has not fluctuated. So here's my question for you. You remember a couple years ago when the price of timber went through the roof.
Yes.
What did that do for your business back then?
Back then, it did a lot of things. What it made people realize is the stability of steel, this type of steel that we use. It's so stable price-wise because the consumption is so low that we're able to guarantee price indefinitely. And you do that for a developer. That means that the performer that he creates today is just as good a year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, it doesn't matter.
So if you're doing a developer on a large phase development, 4 phases over the next 4 years, that's going to be meaningful.
Massive.
So let's keep talking about price here. You're saying that steel compared to lumber and installation is about 30% less. What does that mean for the overall price of the home? Let's just say for a standard American home. Do you have any guesstimates on what it reduces the overall, what's the savings look like there?
Right now, what we're seeing is on a standard American home that we're able to save $100,000 on a standard American home.
So that's basically knocking 10% off or more off of the price.
10% more depending on where you build.
We, as a real estate influencer, having done $2 billion worth of real estate transactions, I track affordability. It's actually one of the key KPIs that I track in the markets that we invest in. And right now we're sitting on a lack of 4.6 million homes in this country. That's a shortage. But then we're also seeing our median home price since the pandemic has actually gone up from $285,000 to now $430,000. It hasn't quite doubled, but it's gone up 70% higher than it was in just the last 5 years.
And what do you think the largest line item is on that performer?
It's probably the framing package.
The framing package. So what if we could get that under control?
Okay.
That's what we've done.
So we might have builders watching this and they might be saying bullshit. Meaning, I've been dealing with timber my entire life, but I have you here that's built 4,000 structures out of steel.
Yeah.
When for the 20 years prior, you're doing everything out of wood, and you're saying it's actually, honest to goodness, 30% less. You're telling the American homeowner that is watching this, you're telling me I can get into a house for 5, 7, 10, 15% less?
Then not only will you get in the house that much less, yes, that's a fact. It will cost you less to live there because they're more energy efficient. I can explain that. And it will cost you less to maintain the house through insurance over that same period of time.
Tell me about the insurance.
So the insurance piece is a big one. If builders are watching, they know this, and developers, that the insurance industry drives construction, period. They drive costs, they drive schedule, they drive the way you build as a builder. They tell you how you're going to build because in the end, liability-wise, they're responsible.
Okay.
So when they move, the industry moves. So what has happened is because of the wildfires, because of the years of instability in wood and hurricane environments and the way it's reacted and there have been losses, the insurance industry has said, we've got to do better. We can do better. There's technology now that allow us to do better affordably. That is steel. So now they're backing steel in a way that is giving the average American consumer 30 to 40% discount annually on their homeowner's insurance.
That's got to be saving thousands a year. That's got to be saving thousands a year.
Tens of thousands.
Okay, so real quick, there's tens of thousands of dollars of savings on the home itself, and then there's tens of thousands of dollars of savings over the cost for insurance over the course of a decade.
100%.
So that's where we're talking about $100,000 of potential savings to the American.
100%.
Okay, so this is great for builders. I'll just tell you, I connected with my builder that built my home. He does about a dozen Park City builds a year, so he's probably building $100 million worth.
And he's building high-end homes.
He's building very high-end homes. And when I told him about this, he was excited, but he was also skeptical. And then I sent him the proposal. Yeah. And he's like, you just saved this client $130,000.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. And I went, and it only took me 5 minutes to go through the bid. And he's like, yep, I see it all across the board. This makes sense. So he got excited about it. He'll do his next dozen projects here. That's big because he is a builder. Guess what he was more excited about? It wasn't the money. He was more excited about the fact that he could cut his framing time down by 70%.
100%. And he's excited about the fact that he's cutting down his callbacks on his punch out. As a builder, I can tell you that.
I don't know what callbacks on a punch out means. Will you just real quick?
So as a builder, you get the house finished and it's not finished.
Oh,
the homeowner moves in and they're like, well, what about this lump in the drywall and this piece of molding's bent and this? All of that typically goes back to the framing.
Got
yes.
It. Okay.
And so if you can have a stable framing commodity, which is what steel is, then what you end up having is a house that doesn't have callbacks that wood has.
Let's talk about why people don't know about this. Like, where does this technology come from? And why is it only now just hitting America? And do other countries have access to it? So
it's what I've been facing for the last decade. And yes, other countries have access to this. In fact, it's been around since 1995. Oh. It was developed in Australia, which is a cyclonic environment. So it's designed to stand up inside of hurricanes. It's also a seismic environment designed to stand up inside of earthquakes. But this commodity and this technology is now global. It's been global since 1995. It's run across the globe except the U.S. The main reason is because the timber lobby has kept us out of the code book and has kept us out of the insurance conversations up until 2018. 2018, we hit the IBC, the International Building Code. Okay. We're now a prescribed framing method inside of the code book. We can pull a permit anywhere in the U.S. inside of our technology and the globe. And then outside of that, we became backed by Marsh McLennan, one of the largest insurance providers in the U.S. You add those two together, and now wood has no argument. Now it's just a matter of getting the conversation into the hands of people on environments like this.
How are builders receiving this information? Like, how do they feel about it as they're educated on it?
So older builders like myself, I've been building for 30 years. I'm 54 years old, and even older, right? Like older builders take a little bit more Q&A to get them to understand what we're doing. What's wild is the builders that are now making the decisions and building houses are getting younger and younger. And these younger builders are now, they've grown up with iPhones and technology.
Oh, so they're kind of looking for the modernization of the building
process. Like, can we stop building with sticks and sawdust, please? Is there another way?
Really? Okay, so we're basically building things out of firewood, and that's why the insurance companies get excited, because they're like, hey, we don't like forking out money. If the house is built out of steel, we'll literally charge you less on your premium because it's a better product for us.
And they're offsetting the risk in their portfolio. They're already insuring houses built out of wood. They have to, because there's so many on the market. The mortgage companies require the insurance, but they're offsetting that liability on wood framing with steel framed homes. We're providing that.